one thing Baker can get better at, because we ain't got some of our top guys here, but one thing Baker can get better at, although they're not here, is, he's still got to go through his progressions. He's still got to learn how to throw different receivers. He still has to learn how different receivers come in and out of routes. I almost knocked your thing over again. But so he can continue to get better with his eyes and with his declarations and with his sights and his hots and his protection adjustments and things like that. And then throwing the guys, different type guys coming out of breaks, because even when we have all 3 or 4 guys here, we have our top 6 guys. If we have our top 6 guys, every one of those 6 is going to come out of a break differently. So it's just extra practice for that type setting. He's done a good job of that.
There's Freddie-Kitchens talking about Baker Mayfield. There's such a thing as a sophomore slump. There's such a thing as catching up or getting ahead of teams because they haven't seen enough of you on film. That won't be the case anymore. All these teams have everything they need on Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, and Mayfield, though, will say, hey, I got a lot of room of improvement, and you haven't seen anything yet. He could counter with that, but it will be interesting to see how the league adjusts to Mayfield and how much more growth there is in Mayfield, because he showed us an awful lot in a shortened rookie season.
Well, that being said, with the addition of Beckham, who's the big play guy, the continuation of guys that he played with last year, I'm talking about Baker Mayfield. Do you expect bigger stats on a per game basis, or will it calm down, or what do the Browns need to win? Big numbers by Mayfield, or just solid quarterback play?
I think I would go the latter. I mean, whether you need good, Mayfield has to be really good. I'm not saying when I say his numbers don't have to be fantastic every game. I'm not trying to say that he doesn't have to be good. But I think of Tom Brady. Over the years, the Patriots have won plenty of games in which Brady's numbers are not eye-popping.
Right.
He just does what the game necessitates. If Belichick feels like they have to run it, then they're able to run it. If he feels like it's a lot of dink and dunk, then they'll dink and dunk. If Brady needs to throw for 400 to win, he throws for 400 to win. That's what winning programs do. They don't sit there and say, well, my quarterback has to throw for 400 every game or we don't have a chance. So I would like to think that the Monken-Kitchens offense is, we're going to do whatever it takes, whatever the situation calls for. If Chubb has to carry it 35 times, then he does. If Mayfield has to throw it 40 times, then he does. But I wouldn't worry about a game-by-game stat line for Mayfield.
No, but what'll be interesting is if Freddie-Kitchens is able to adapt during games. In other words, you're talking about expecting the way a game is going to go and then realizing, well, maybe it's not, and then you have to change midstream. And that's what you're going to. That's something Belichick knows by instinct, and that's something that Freddie-Kitchens is going to have to learn.
Sure.
When to abandon ship.
Oh, right. I can't even imagine how difficult it is to be an NFL head coach, let alone a first-year NFL head coach. All the stuff that goes through your mind, everything you have to process. And you could talk about all the game planning you want, and then there's a whole nother layer that you're so good at, Les, which is the game management stuff. The management of timeouts, the management of replay challenges, when to, personnel groupings, when do you go with 5 wide, and when do you go with a full house backfield, as the case was a couple times last year. So I can't even imagine how difficult the job is, but I get the feeling that Kitchens is not going to be overwhelmed by it. He will make mistakes. He's going to lose games, but I don't think it's going to be because he wasn't prepared.
No.
And because he was overwhelmed.
The thing I'd be concerned with and something to watch for is, can he handle being the offensive play calling guy as well as head coach? Not too many head coaches are play callers either at the same time.
That's why I know what's been said so far, but I'm getting the impression that Monken is going to have a bigger say in the game calling than we are being led to believe at this point. And
Hopefully
that'll
correct.
be fine with Kitchens.
All right, when we